Sorry, I'm late.
What's going on?
So I thought I was in the Untitled Weekly Show, but it turns out I was in the room next door, which is the Titled Weekly Show.
Oh, yeah, I've been there, done that.
Yeah. So I guess we should start the Untitled Weekly Show then.
I think so.
All right, that works.
All right, yeah, that's fine. Okay, so let me get my notes up real quick.
Yeah. You
one
texted
page.
them to yourself?
I text stuff to myself all the time.
What?
So that I don't forget. I always see the notification.
Text yourself notes. I didn't think that would be a thing. You wanna slide me a piece of chalk?
Not salty at all.
Not salty at all. All right.
I'm ready. Today.
No, we gotta introduce ourselves. We do this every time. We need to introduce ourselves, we say the pluck line, and then we do the today bit.
All right, well, you always say the pluck line. Hello, I'm Connor, very confused Neil.
Hi, I'm Aaron. Hold on. I actually need to think of something clever this time.
Aaron Chuck in the Cynic Radke.
Hi, I'm Aaron Blaflummox Radke,
And I'm Connor Jason Funderburker Neil.
and this is the Untitled Weekly Show. The show where we talk about what we want, and you like it.
All right, so today we're going to be talking about what makes a good sequel.
Because we've all seen plenty of bad movie sequels, and we could probably list a billion off the top of our
A lot
head
of
right
them
now.
are sequels to sequels to sequels.
That is true. Let's not go there.
They get even worse.
Let's not go there. But we figured maybe it's time that we try and hone in on what makes a good sequel to a movie, and then maybe show some examples that follow that. Oh,
Somebody's real nervous.
that's dangerous.
Several people are probably pretty nervous about that right there.
Okay.
I got film equipment down here. And this whole drawer.
This whole drawer. Yep.
Nothing's in it.
Yep. All right, Connor. So, if we had to list things off on what a good sequel would be.
I actually wrote stuff down today.
All right.
I'll list off mine real quick.
Okay.
What makes a good sequel? The first thing, number one thing, do not make the same movie with bigger explosions. This is how big the explosions were in the first one. Most sequels are like, hey, it's a sequel, right? No, it's the same movie. Number one thing, don't do that. Number two thing, this goes along with that, have a completely different plot. Oh, what movie should I take for an example of movies with bad sequels? Taken, the Taken movie. First Taken movie was pretty good. Second one, it was the same movie but somebody else got kidnapped. Another thing, I think most sequels can do with focusing on different characters than the main character of the first one, but if you're gonna focus on the main character again, they have to have something different going on. Don't revert character development so that you can have a story. So let's say your character, at the end of your first movie, got all happy. Yay! Don't just make your character sad if your character's happy in one movie because of something. Maybe make him, he's too happy now. He's moved past the point of being sad, and now he's so stinking happy that, like, everybody's super annoyed and he needs to find a middle ground, and that's what the sequel's about. And then don't make a third one, because I can't think of a third one for this analogy.
I will say, one characteristic of making a good sequel is knowing when to stop.
Yes.
Know when to
One,
stop.
2, 3. This is most trilogies. Good. Okay. Very bad.
Probably the next big thing. Kind of tacking it on to what you said, Connor, about making the story different. there is a bit of caveat to that. And that is, well, make the story different, but build off of what's already there.
Yes, definitely.
Like
continue the story.
Like, let's say our first story goes from here, goes up, and stops here. A good sequel won't go the exact same line, but take this landing point and go up over here.
Yes.
A good sequel won't start here, or it won't do, hopefully, it doesn't do this.
Yes. Don't want that. I don't know what that shape is, but I don't want it anywhere near me.
It's bad. That's what it is. It's bad.
This is bad.
This is bad filmmaking.
Going along with that, when do you make a sequel? This is a question that people need to ask.
Oh God.
They don't ask it. When do you make a sequel? I think there's two reasons to make a sequel. One, you make a sequel because the movie needs a sequel. Lord of the Rings movies, you gotta make a sequel to that because they're necessary. Secondly, make a sequel if and only if.
You all right there?
I didn't put another point on there. Okay, make a sequel if and only if you have more story to go with. For example, the Toy Story 2. Toy Story 2 was such a good sequel because it took all the same characters, they have the character development from the last movie, and they have a new story with new character development and new issues that arise. The third one did the same thing.
Quick disclaimer on all of these thoughts. We know why sequels get made in real life. It's because of money.
Money.
We know that. We're rejecting this reality and speaking purely from filmmaking and an artistry standpoint. All right? Disclaimer over.
Here's another thing. Let's say you got a really cool character in one of your movies. This isn't a movie, but it's a TV show. Community. You've got a bunch of cool characters. These are their heads. I don't want to go into detail. There's too many of them. What happened in Community can oftentimes happen in movies, where these characters cease to be characters and become cliches of the character that they were. The things they said in the first movie or earlier episodes, they just say them over and over again. They become a cliche of themselves and lose what makes a character interesting. Everybody knows who that character is because they did these things in the past, so they have to do the same things every single time you see them.
They get lost in their own irony.
They get lost in their own irony, yes. They become too much of what made them good and lose the specifics of what the character actually were. Oh, here's another one.
Uh-oh.
Don't bring characters back from the dead. Ever. Unless you knew that they didn't die.
If you have a legit, well thought out reason.
Yes, if there was like an actual reason, like, you know, like we didn't see the character die on screen, and like you have a good reason why that character's coming back, don't just bring a character back because fans like that character.
I will say, there is one rebuttal to that.
All right, what is it?
We're delving into the world of Star Wars a little bit. I know. Scary topic these days. Scary topic. But this is one scenario where it was actually good that a character went from dead to alive. And that is Darth Maul.
Oh, yeah.
He is a character that kind of got gypped in the prequels. Cool character, never really got a chance to shine.
I know there's an A in there, by the way.
He was a cool character and never really got his chance to shine
Yeah.
on screen. And they just killed him off way too quick.
They did.
Luckily, there is enough going on in Star Wars of like, oh, he was cut very specifically in half. There's a lot of vital organs that stayed safe. Or that was one of the few examples where dead to alive worked.
It can happen.
But there was already a lot of world building in place
Yes.
that made it feasible. Unlike Rise of Skywalker. Oh boy, Rise of Skywalker.
I don't think we need to go there yet.
Okay.
We'll do an entire episode based on
The new trilogy.
what's good and what's bad in Star Wars. The good and the bad and the ugly.
Yeah. It's just.
And we're on the ugly, we're just gonna throw in the Hobbit trilogy, even though it's not Star Wars. I do think we should do one of these about prequels.
The 3 ideas that I like is, number 1, no repeats.
No repeats.
2, you gotta build off
Yes.
the original story.
Off the world of the story, the original story, do something about characters who aren't the main characters. If your main characters are totally done and like there's nothing to do with your main characters, jump 100 years in the future and then make a new one about the same world.
And 3, and this is the most nebulous one to nail down.
of crimes.
Not that quite.
These
far.
are crimes.
No, these are the good things. Well,
Not doing these are crimes. Doing these,
3 is it's a little hard to like do it as like an exact science. It's gotta feel
yes.
like the first movie.
That was another point that I had. The other point that I had is a lot of times a low budget movie will become a huge success and they'll make a sequel. And the sequel has nothing that you liked about the original, even though it has all the money and the big effects and things. And that's because they lost the feel, because they were like, well, we have money, so that means we don't have to work anymore. Just throw this script that's kind of like basically a rehash of the original with more effects.
And a great example of showing the do's and don'ts of this, now that you brought it up, is actually the Terminator series. Terminator 1 to Terminator 2 is a great example of basically a good sequel.
Yeah, that's what I
It
heard.
had the same feel. It felt like a continuation of that world. And they kept so much character development. Like if you look at Sarah Connor in the original, you know, she's your standard, you know, female protagonist who's fairly helpless. And then you get to Terminator 2 and she's gone basically like full commando army ranger. It built off what was already established and it felt like Terminator 1, but with a little more money behind it.
With a little more money behind it,
And then
which is good.
the exact
used
opposite of
properly.
all these is everything after Terminator 3. Well, I think this is a good wrap up.
It is. This is a good wrap up. This is good. These are good words
So-
in the right context.
I guess in wrap up, if you're a filmmaker and you're making a sequel, or you're Hollywood, please listen to us, Hollywood. Follow these rules, and if you need more explanation, rewind the video and watch it again, you know, because we will go a little more in depth.
Watch it a second time.
Watch it 3 times, heck, 4, 5, just throw it on repeat, just keep going, you know? Oh. I would say you're playing with fire, but that's entirely not right.
Entirely not right. I did it. It's the riskiest thing I'm
Yeah.
gonna do today.
That's all that I have.
That's all that I
I feel
have.
like we covered everything.
So next week, we're not gonna have anything to do with chickens next week.
Yeah, that's
We're
true.
done with chickens. Chickens, we are past chicken.
But we're moving on.
We're moving on to bigger and better livestock. Cows, man. We're talking about cows next week. Should we just get out of the animal business?
We probably should.
All right.
It's pot.
Life.